So thank you very much for coming. We hope that this was a good meeting for you to meet a whole lot of new people. There, like I said, there are 100 new people here, or 100 people here today. So it's a good networking event for all those new people. Thank you very much for joining the Chamber. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you at a lot more events in the future. So we're going to get right into our program today. If an emergency occurred in your workplace tomorrow, would you be ready? September is National Preparedness Month. National Preparedness Month aims to educate and empower Americans to prepare for and respond to all types of emergencies, including natural disasters, potential terrorist attacks, and workplace emergencies. National Preparedness Month is a time to empower yourself and those in your care to be ready for emergencies and disasters, both large and small. Today, we're pleased to have Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard here to talk about emergency preparedness in the workplace. Sheriff Bouchard runs one of the nation's largest sheriff's offices, overseeing 1,300 employees and managing an annual budget of over $141 million. With 30 years of law enforcement, Sheriff Bouchard also holds a certified Homeland Security Professional certification and is an FBI National Executive Institute graduate. In April of this year, he was awarded the National Sheriff's Association Ferris E. Lucas Award for Sheriff of the Year. That's quite an honor. He was chosen from among more than 3,000 elected sheriffs from across the country, and he's the first Michigan sheriff to earn that honor. Please help me in welcoming Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard.
Well, thank you. I always like to fine-tune my obituary, so now it's getting much better. I'm kind of tethered. I like to walk around and talk, but I'm told that the microphone for the cable's here, so I'm kind of tethered. So I apologize for the barrier between us. My topic that I was asked to talk about is more serious than probably typical breakfast fare, and it's a lot more graphic and something sadly that we have to think about in today's environment, both in schools and in offices and different workplace environments. And in fact, just yesterday, our folks were training actively, not too far from here, practicing what they would do if they have to make an entry against, active shooters or other kind of combatants, whether it happens to be terrorism, like San Bernardino, where my friend Sheriff McMahon had to face that particular terrorist situation that was in a county building. Or other situations we've seen around the world. We anticipate what those kinds of situations do. I meet with the actual lead investigator or the chief of that jurisdiction, or in this case, sheriff, and get a second by second how it played out, what went right, what went wrong. We try to learn from that and try to inculcate it into our training so we're better prepared. We hope and pray it never happens here, but prayer and hope is not the only strategy in our business. We have to actually prepare for the worst that we could think of. And so you don't have to think about this every day, but we are. But you do need to think a little bit about what happens in your workplace if something were to happen. And so this video is a bit graphic, but it's kind of a true representation of how something might play out. So it's kind of important for you to see and kind of get the feel and understanding of it. As you begin to think about what would we do in our workplace, how would we design our policies, what we do if we do any renovation or construction as it relates to barriers or impediments to slow things like this down. All of those things come into your thought process as you begin to watch this. And then I think we have just a minute or two after for some questions. So.
A morning that began like any other turned tragic today when an employee opened fire on his supervisor and fellow co-workers.
Students, parents, teachers are asking why today, after a bloody rampage, plunged this campus into tragedy.
Details are just coming in, but we're being told that a heavily armed gunman opened fire this evening at the mall food court behind me. There's no official word on any casualties yet, but one eyewitness reported seeing at least 6 people shot.
Active shooter. A gunman or gunmen killing or attempting to kill people in a confined, populated area.
You gotta get some sleep. You're looking like a vampire.
You sleep. You ain't got no babies at home keeping you up.
What the hell? Ah, Sam again.
We've tried. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to let you go.
Active shooter killings are a tragic, unpredictable reality, and one that's becoming more common.
Since 2006, the U.S. has averaged an active shooter event with 4 or more deaths every 2.9 months.
Even though the number of active shooter events has been increasing, your odds of being involved in one are still very slim. But just like fire drills and earthquake preparedness, making a plan in advance can make all the difference.
Yeah, but lizards live in tanks. I mean, it's probably fine.
If you do find yourself in the middle of a senseless attack, the why doesn't matter.
Hey. Hey, buddy.
Hang on, something's happening.
What matters is surviving.
On average, 20 mass shootings take place in the U.S. every year.
Killers usually choose their victims at random. They look for easy targets. So the harder you are to see or to hit, the safer you are. When an attack starts, if you can find a way out of the location, do so.
Get out.
If you stay calm and think clearly, even in the middle of a life and death event, you improve your chances of making it out. Visualize your movements in advance.
What are we gonna do?
Look at me, look at me. I can get us out. Stay behind me. Stay down.
Use cover, something that will stop a bullet, and concealment, something that at least keeps you out of sight.
Attention South LA units, code 3 response needed regarding a 245 DSV 417. This will be at the Town Center shopping mall. Suspects wearing a face mask, possible body armor.
Use any available means to get out, including emergency exits or windows. Most restaurants and retail locations will also have exits in the back, through kitchens or stock rooms. Even in the best cases, police are minutes, not seconds away. You must take action to protect yourself.
Okay, everybody stay calm. It's probably just a drill.
No, go back, go back.
Oh my God, come here.
If you can help others without putting yourself in unnecessary danger,
It's gonna be okay.
do so.
It's gonna be okay. What's your name?
Lori.
Lori? It's gonna be okay.
If you can't move safely to an exit, get to a room or a confined area you can lock down. Then secure the location.
Secure your location.
Oh my God.
There's somebody shooting.
Everybody stay calm. Remember how we train. Everybody get in this corner, away from the windows. Get the emergency bag from my desk. Help her.
Drywall won't stop a bullet, but there are steps to take to stay safe. Lock or barricade the doors, turn off the lights, move away from any windows, and silence your cell phone.
The other door doesn't lock. Move desks or anything, just block it.
A modern emergency bag can include a first aid kit, gloves, emergency plans for the building, and casualty cards to alert first responders to any wounded victims.
Most active shooter situations are over in 10 to 15 minutes.
Attention Lakeway units, code 3 is needed. Red 245 GSV 417. It's going to be at Alexandria College. Multiple victims down.
Law enforcement's first responsibility when entering an active shooter situation is to stop the suspect, not to render aid to the victims. Medical teams will enter the scene as soon as the suspect is no longer a threat or is confirmed in another location. Silence any cell phones and remain quiet. Do not alert the shooter to your presence.
Sheriff's Department, is there anyone inside?
Red card.
Just hang tight. We'll be back to get you.
Defend yourself.
If you cannot escape the location and you can't shelter in place, you may have to defend yourself as a last resort. Almost anything can be turned into an improvised weapon. Look for something that can disrupt the shooter's ability to see, breathe, or control their weapon. When law enforcement arrives, they are going to be in a heightened state of readiness and awareness, looking for any aggressive movements. So keep your hands visible and follow any commands you are given.
He's a shooter.
What happened? A shooter. I just saw one shooter.
Especially in developing situations, engaging law enforcement, running toward them, reaching for them, even to thank them, could put people at risk.
Surviving an active shooter.
Anybody injured? Two up front.
For more information,
Thank you. Seriously. Sorry to do that to your morning. That's kind of what we think about every day, unfortunately. But I guess maybe on the only lighter note that you could possibly have, that was like a bad martial arts movie. It's like, you don't get me! I don't know why it was so out of sync there, but I think you kind of got the gist of it. The basic three premises are run, hide, and fight. So as soon as something begins to develop, run, get away from it. Because even if you're somebody that's well trained, you don't know how many adversaries you have. So you want to extract yourself from that situation so you can provide great information to someone else that's going to be coming with proper force and proper capabilities, proper equipment. You have no idea what you're facing individually. Hide, obviously, speaks for itself. If you can't escape a situation, find a place to secrete yourself, preferably someplace that's solid, not just drywall or something that both rounds can go through, but a person could literally punch through. False sense of security comes by certain things. If you remember the Sandy Hook shooting, they had actually pretty good protocols in place. You had to visually and be buzzed in everybody that came to the building. The shooter defeated it by shooting out the large plate glass window next to the door and then walked through that window to begin shooting up the kindergarten. So you have to know the barriers and the physicality of where you're going to hide and what kind of workplace you have. And then the final one is fight. If you find yourself in that hiding spot and you're confronted, then you must take action and take violent action to defend yourself or anyone that's with you. If there's more than one person, then you do it together. You do it in concert. Before that moment arrives, you say, what do we have? If somebody has a CPL, then you know that you have that. If somebody has something else in the room, a baseball bat in their office, they like games or something, grab that. Fire extinguisher, whatever you can use. If you're in that situation where you're confronted now with the active assailant, you have to take that action to defend yourself. So those are the basic premises. Happy to answer any brief questions. I know you've got a full program, and certainly we're available anytime. You can call me or send me an email or a Facebook message. We're accessible 24/7. As people know, I'm sending emails last night at 1 in the morning, so too accessible for some of our staff, I think. But it is a topic that we all need to think about. Again, we hope and pray it never happens here, but you have to anticipate that if it did, what would you do? How would your employees or your children in school settings, how would they be handled? Because everything is a little different, right? So, for example, if you're in a workplace and you're on a second story, you may be able to jump out, but if you're a kindergarten teacher and you're on a second story, you can't jump out because the kids can't follow you. So every situation's a little different based on your charge at the moment and who you're with and what the building layout is. Some schools actually have an exit door off of some classrooms so they could get right out their own door, and some don't. They feed out into a hallway, which would be the last place you'd want to go. And you have to set protocols. So for example, you wouldn't want a fire alarm for all situations, because what does that do? It spills people into the hall and out of the building, which makes them targets. You'd want a separate alarm that would notify that there's a hazard, an active shooter, or some other danger, which triggers either a run or shelter in place, different thought process than a fire exit. So I'm throwing a lot at you, I understand that, but again, we're available anytime. You've got a great substation commander here and a great supervisor, Mr. Supervisor.
Mike, most of the people in the room are employers in our community. If they wanted to have you guys do some training for them in their places of business, is that something you offer? Who would they reach out to? How would they set that up?
Yeah, if you're in Orion, obviously, right here, you've got your substation commander, Toth, is in the back.
Yeah, stand up so people see who you are. Lieutenant Toth.
So Lieutenant Toth would be the person if you're in Orion. If you're outside of Orion, feel free to contact us or me directly about anything, questions, concerns, personal issues, good food, ice cream. I like ice cream. Now seriously, feel free to get a hold of us. I'll give you my number is 248-858-5001. That comes into the front office, and then our web address is oaklandsheriff.com, and which is up on the screen, and then our email address is OCSO, like Oakland County Sheriff's Office, @oakgov.com. So any of those routes work, plus Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just heard today that we're on heightened alert for some sort of terrorist.
Well, we're coming up, we're 4 days away from the anniversary, 15th anniversary, September 11th. So I'm very involved in that. I have a top secret clearance and I work on international counterterrorism kind of efforts, and we know that our adversaries like to pick particular dates. If you remember, Benghazi was selected for particular dates, and that's not unusual. So there's nothing specific, but it's something that we're certainly aware of, that they like to use anniversary dates and certain specific dates. We were on heightened alert July 4th. So yeah, it's something to be aware of, but also know that we're going to be ramped up too. Anybody else? Well, again, sorry to be the Debbie Downer of your morning, but that's what I do.
Wow, he's taller than I thought. So I just wanted to point out, as Chris said, that our substation commander, Dan Toth, is walking around in the back there. Thank you very much for bringing some of your deputies with you. If you're here from the substation, please stand. And we'd like to thank you very much. We appreciate what you do for this community, keeping us all safe, not only as citizens, but as business owners. It makes us feel a little bit better to be here and have our businesses and our families here when you are vigilant all the time. So thank you. And also I wanted to note that the substation here in Orion is the oldest contracted one in Oakland County. It's been here for 64 years. It was started in 1952. So. Right. Yeah, so we're proud of that kind of heritage. So our next speakers, I'd like to introduce two gentlemen from the Orion Township Fire Department. They're here to talk to us about some safety initiatives and programs available to businesses in the Orion area. I'd like to have, where are you, Chris Hagan? Come on up. Chris Hagan is the Public Relations Coordinator, Lieutenant Chris Hagan, and then we also have EMS Coordinator Chris LeGerald. Did I say that right? Did I? Oh. So they're here to talk to us about some programs. Thank you, Tim.
All right, so we have to excuse us. We're used to talking with 7-year-old children and in classrooms and that sort of thing. So, like Kim said, my name is Chris Hagan. I handle a lot of the community outreach, public education. I work a lot with Chris, their EMS coordinator, and our favorite part about the emergency response, I guess, realm of the government is we're one of the only government agencies that you can call, and within 2 questions, we're already trying to solve your problem. So you call 911, you say, you tell us what's wrong. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, also, thanks for bringing Bouchard in as our warm-up. Yeah, that helps with the boys in brown. So you call and you ask us 2 questions. Now I can roam. You ask us 2 questions: what's wrong, and where are you? That's it. After that, we're on the way. We're solving your problem. After that, it might take us a couple minutes to get there, but think of any other governmental body that you deal with: local, state, federal. There is no other one that's going to be that quick, and that's our favorite part about it. And when we deal with businesses on a daily basis, it's really not in this nice environment with a hot breakfast. Well, sometimes people eat a hot breakfast and then they vomit, but that happens. It's a stressful situation. It's a medical, it's some sort of fire alarm, or it's a business inspection. And anybody that's gone through a business inspection, they're not the most pleasant. Jeff's a good-looking guy, but sometimes that can be a kind of a headache to go through. So this is a really important time for us to kind of reach out and just offer a couple kind of avenues that we offer. One, we're going to start with kind of like the business or the fire route. So by show of hands, who has a Knox box on their business right now? Okay. Whew. Okay. Oh, good. Joe raised his hand. All right. So who doesn't have one? And or who doesn't know what one is? All right, that's normally our response. So in short, a Knox box is a dedicated key safe for your building. And there's only one person or organization that has the key, and that's us. So you put a key to your business in this key safe mounted on the front of your building, and if there's some sort of an alarm, a medical emergency, a fire, the classic example of a firefighter is they come with an axe, they break down the door, then they ask questions later. The Knox box kind of prevents that. We open that key safe, there's a key to your building in there, and then we can open the door. And we have a safe in our fire trucks that holds the key to get into that key safe, that Knox box. And that's recorded in our truck. Always a log of who takes it out. And normally those logs line right up with the calls that we have for alarms. So, who has anybody had to install a door or a window in their business in the past 5 years? Okay. Was it costly? Yeah, it's not fun, right? So the alternative, it's very simple. This kind of gets back to the simplicity of emergency response. If we and the doors are locked, it's actually pretty simple after that. Just break something until you can get in the door, or get in the house, get in the business. So with the cost of about $250 to $300 for a dedicated key safe, thousands. And it's KONX BOX for Knoxbox, and the keys that it's a nationwide program, but only the Orion Township Fire Department has a key for Orion Township businesses. If you're in Oxford, Independence, Auburn Hills, Rochester Hills, those fire departments have their own dedicated keys, Knoxboxes as well. So, I mean, you take a metal door that can go from $300 to $2,000. That's a pretty hefty price tag. If you have an employee in there, if just the employee is going through some sort of medical emergency, if they're working late, they're working early, they have a diabetic issue, they think they're having a heart attack, and they pull the fire alarm, we're not going to wait for a key holder to get in there if somebody's having a heart attack, if somebody is in some sort of true emergency, or we see smoke billowing from the building. So we're going to do our due diligence to check to see if the doors are unlocked. But it's truly a great program that we offer. And what we're recommending too with babysitters and at-home daycare is the Knox company makes a residential one for your home as well. Works the same way. It looks a little nicer than the nice black box on the front of the building. But if you ever go to a building now and you walk in, look near the front door and you will see a little black box, normally like shoulder high, with a label on it. So now you're required to get one. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So that's the first part of our interaction with the business is going in there for an alarm, some sort of activation that we get there. 9 times out of 10 it's nothing, but that 10th time you might have something pretty extreme going on. The second one that we're going to have more involvement and interaction with you is during a medical. Has anybody here had to call 911 for any reason at their business? So a decent amount of hands. That's normally what we see. So whoever had their hand up, Scott, what was the medical emergency that you had to call for? Okay. Yeah, that I don't know if you said panic attack or anxiety. That happens all the time, and that's just one kind of low-level thing that we see. And we see it all the way up from an anxiety attack all the way up to a true cardiac arrest. Their heart has stopped beating, and then we have to perform CPR. So kind of give you a little bit of data on our end. So last year, in 2015, we had 22 calls for CPR where they are not breathing, and we have to do that work for them. So far in 2016, we're at 27 right now. And a whole host of they're older, right? The age group. Yeah, so those that didn't hear, we're seeing everything from an 18-year-old to a 23-year-old overdose to an 85-year-old lady that just had a massive heart attack, sort of thing. So it's the spectrum's all over the place. But nationwide, they're also seeing an increase in CPR calls. So that's why we offer as well a constant schedule of CPR classes. So I know we've done a lot of work at the library doing CPR classes, some businesses here we've worked with. But our goal is we want at least one person, it's a chamber member, at least one person in every business in the chamber certified in CPR. You increase a person's chances exponentially if you begin CPR right away. Every minute that a person goes without CPR is 10% less than they have to live. So if you can get on and start doing chest compressions right away, and then you call 911 or call 911 and start doing chest compressions, if you know what to do and you have an AED on site, you're going to drastically help that person more than just looking at them thinking, oh man, I wish I knew what to do. Anybody have an AED at their facility? I know some public buildings do. Okay, you do. You guys do. Okay. Any other smaller businesses in the downtown area, or anybody have one? Sir in the back. Okay, so yeah, you have an AED. Yeah, the AED, for those that don't know, it's that shocking thing. It comes in the red box. You put the pads on. You hit the button. They jolt. So the AED essentially works. There's an electrode here, a pad here, and the heart is basically doing whatever it wants, right? The AED, you press the button, and it's just a giant slap across the face, and then the heart just goes back into contractility and goes back to normal. So if you all want to write this down, we would really love to have business owners, employees, the more employees, the better, register for some CPR classes. Them on demand will come to your facility, come to our nice fire station that Bob Smith is so proud of. Right, Bob? Yeah. He's like, why is he talking to me? All right, so we have 4 dates coming up right now, and we're going to do this for the next, 5, 6, 7, as long as Chris and I are employed. So next weekend, I guess that's the last one. Yeah. So September 27th, October 19th, November 8th, and December 13th. Class starts at 5. They run about 3 to 4 hours, and it's a certified certification card that you'll walk away with. It is, yes. So we don't teach just hands-only CPR, adult, child, and infant.
Also it covers choking also in that.
First aid, you'll have to contact us separately because first aid in addition to CPR is 8 hours. So it's a little bit more lengthy of a class. We encourage everybody to register for one, call us, contact us. If you think your business has 10, 15 people that you want certified, we'll come out and we'll have a special class, a special day and time that we can do that. Mike, go ahead. No, you did pretty good. You did pretty good, Mike. Yeah, so what I wanted to end on was the fact that Sheriff Bouchard was talking about how this is on our daily mindset. It's not so much on yours, but it truly can happen anywhere. And if you take it for your business and you're like, well, okay, I know that we have X amount of employees, we have X amount of customers, and they're this age group. That's great, but you could be at Detroit Metro flying out for vacation and somebody falls over, and that's kind of where you'll see those skills take place. So thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. Kim, thank you for inviting us. Oh, we have a question. Is it Bob? Oh, sorry. Chief Smith. So call 248 for the training, 248-391-0304, and it's going to be extension 111. And the person that answers the phone is him. Yeah. If requested, yeah, we'll come in uniform if requested. So thank you, Kim, and thank you for Bouchard for warming up the crowd, and for the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to call Lieutenant Toth up here as well. I think he's got some information, a little bit more information about that, the training that Sheriff Bouchard was speaking about earlier.
Good morning, everyone. What we want you to walk away with this morning is being proactive and being preventive. So a lot of you have heard this speech before, but for anyone that's new to the chamber, we want you to pull out your cell phones. We all know you know when to call 911 when it's life-threatening, okay? But a lot of times we just don't know what it is. If you hear a bump in the night or one of your employees is just not sure what they're seeing in the lot, or one of the school staff, they're just really not sure. We're all a team. You are all part of the public safety team, and that will be discussed on Sunday too. But we want you to put in your cell phones, in your contacts, put A dispatch, capital A dispatch, or you can write this down and put it in later. It's 248-858-4911. That's 858-4911. Pass that on to your family members, your wife, your husband, your children. And that number works even when you're in Oxford and Oakland and Independence and Pontiac, wherever you are on the road. If you see something suspicious, speak up and call dispatch. That number right there goes right to dispatch. It goes right to the fire department. It goes right to their trucks. It goes right to the patrol cars. And they will get that information firsthand. We have an awesome regional dispatch center. They will keep you on the phone. And as they're taking your call and typing it in, they're already sending it to the cars. So when you get on with dispatch, sometimes they're going to ask you a series of questions, but it's all designed so we're absolutely certain we're getting the correct information and we're sending the troops to the right location. So that's how you press the button for public safety, that 911 and 858-4911. I also wanted to add, if you have a business in Orion Township, we want to be preventive. We don't want to make security suggestions when we're taking a crime report, you know, breaking and entering, something like that. So we do offer a service. We'll do a security survey. We will come out to your business. It'll be an informal survey. We will walk around. We'll discuss employee issues, the audio, video, security, any type of questions or issues that you have, and we'll view and you know, inspect your business and see if we can offer some advice to be preventive. So before we have crime reports.
How much does that cost?
It is absolutely free. Call the substation, 393-0090, 393-0091. Use that number. And we'll set up an appointment with you, and we'll come out and we'll review your business. We can discuss you know, different scenarios that you may have for your particular business. That's it. Any other questions? We're all questioned out. Have a nice day.